Hello, guys. I think we're recording. Yep, we are. Okay. I just had an author come to me and ask me about newsletter swaps, the how-tos. I figure making a video is easiest. Newsletter swaps. First of all, I cannot stress how important newsletters themselves are. But what's even more important than newsletters is that you know how to use them and how to take good advantage of them, especially when you don't have a big subscription list. So in 6 years, it's taken me 6 years. I didn't have a newsletter for the first 3 years. I did have an email list of about 1,000 people. That was a requirement of my initial publisher, that we all came up with 1,000 emails, and I was really scrapping for that, but I did get that. So that was how I started my newsletter. Just email addresses of contacts and people in book world, or even I went to Keene State, so I used my alumni association because they like to keep track of what alumni are doing, that kind of thing, to get that initial 1,000. But we're gonna just assume for the sake of this video that you have a newsletter, no matter if it's 6 people, including grandma. One way to build a newsletter list is to get your word out about your books through other people's newsletters. And the way that a newsletter swap works is that basically you're agreeing to share something for an author, and then that author in return will share something of yours in their newsletter. I've seen this done a bunch of different ways. It is done differently with sets and big groups than it is done one-on-one. If you're gonna just do a regular swap, you just reach out to the author. Hey, I'd love to do a newsletter swap. What do you got that you need shared? Often this is done with authors that write in a similar genre because you want to get their readers from, the same sort of reader base. But it can also be done, a lot of authors are multi-genre, or they don't care. With anybody on any book, it can be done for new releases. It can be done for cover reveals. It's popular it's just a great way to promote books. Like it or not, Facebook is dying slowly but surely. So it's important to be building a strong newsletter. And with these swaps, that's one way to do it. Because when you give your information in that swap, you can also say, hey, to sign up for Michelle's newsletter, click this link. That can be part of the information that you're swapping with the other author. If you're doing it for a set, specifically a list run, but just a collection or a set, what is generally done is that somebody is in charge of making a Google Doc. That Google Doc will have a list of people that have agreed to do swaps and what date those swaps are for. So the way I recommend doing this and getting people to sign up for such a document, a list, an agreement, is to post on your regular news feed, hey, I'd like to do a newsletter swap. You do want to be transparent. If you only have a couple of subscribers, that's okay. Bigger authors won't necessarily stray from that, because any subscribers that they don't have are still new readers potentially for them, and it's built one reader at a time. So don't be shy about that if you don't happen to have a big newsletter subscription list. I have 15,000 right now-ish, give or take. I lose some, I get some. And the way that people sign up for my newsletter is either through my website, takeovers, or these newsletter swaps. I have participated in newsletter builders. That was a big part of helping me get my newsletter up and running, and it's something I truly recommend. But you do have to be careful because there are rules. Like if you're using MailChimp, you can't just randomly add names. You need to approach them and say, hey, do you want to subscribe to my newsletter? But at least it's a list that gives you a head start. I can do another basic video about just starting up a newsletter. But as far as swaps go, really the best thing to do is reach out, go on your news feed. Hey, who wants to swap? I'm looking to swap for next month. This is the day my newsletter goes out. This is how many subscribers I have, give or take. I'm willing to swap for these genres. Make it clear what you're willing to do. There are a lot of authors that don't want erotica in their newsletter, for example, because it would turn their readers off. So when you agree to a swap, you want to make sure that it's for a book or author or project that is similar to something that you work on, so that it won't be jarring to your readers. They're subscribed to your newsletter for you and for your content and for the things that you care about and promote. So you want to sort of stick with similar authors, but you also want to get out of your same groups. A big problem people have is that they only talk to people they already know with the same publisher. The best way to expand your reader group is to expand that circle by getting your newsletter out there to other readerships. If you grab 3 new readers from a newsletter swap that aren't in your standard circle, you can then bring them back into your reader circle. And it's a great way where everyone wins and kind of like, spread your wings and fly a little bit and get word out about your book to a new reader pool. So I would encourage anyone that is going to do newsletter swaps to go to and approach other authors. You can do it through PM, directly, or Twitter, or Instagram, or even, like I said, on your feed. Although on your feed, you're probably just going to get friendly fire people that you already know. So, with me, I like to go to authors that I don't have a relationship with. I'm in different circles, and they are very receptive to newsletter swaps. Beware that it's not always something they can do right away. Especially bigger authors with bigger subscription lists will have several swaps that are already scheduled, and they don't have time this month, but maybe they will next month. A lot of authors, and this is me, I've got many lists. I've got lists by genres, so my newsletter doesn't just flat across the board go out to everyone every time. I will curtail that to specific readers and specific genres. And some authors do this and some don't. When I'm doing a big list run or something bigger, I will have a different account that has all of my subscribers, and I will send it out to all 15,000. But that's more expensive, so I shut that one down when I'm not using it for a big project, and I just use the littler lists on a different account. That's just a trick I have as far as saving money. It does cost more, at least on MailChimp, I know, based on how many subscribers you have. I think under 2,000 it's free, but it starts getting pricey really fast. I want to say that at 2,000 or 2,500 it becomes $50 a month, and it's endless. It just keeps going up and up. So be aware of those costs and pay attention to the data on your click-through rates, because you want to make sure that you're getting bang for your buck, so to speak. Although honestly, I don't know that that's necessarily bad. You're still reminding them, hey, I'm out there. And while you may not sell anything or get a good click-through rate on your newsletter one month, you may the next month, and eventually that branding and kind of hitting people over the head with, hey, I'm here, I'm consistent, I'm working hard at this, does eventually translate into readers, but it does take time. So newsletter swaps are something I strongly encourage and recommend. Again, the things that you want to know and be transparent about are how many people you have on your list, who it will go out to, who your readers are. And don't inundate readers. You only want to do like 3 swaps per newsletter. Most of your content should be your books and your stuff, or your readers are going to unsubscribe. I've learned that the hard way because I said yes to everyone, and I've had newsletters that are basically none of my stuff or none of Crazy Ink stuff, and it's all just swaps, and no one wants that. It's like getting spam. So be careful about that. I would say no more than 3. In sets, a Google Doc is set up, and people will agree, the authors will split it up. Like, I'm going to swap with this set on this date, I'm going to swap with this set on that date, and down the line. And then that author is responsible to actually make that swap happen. And it's as simple as literally it sounds. You're just saying, hey, what do you want me to share in mine? What do I need to share in yours? And it's just one hand washes the other. To find these, there are actually groups that will say newsletter swaps, so I would go to those. Join those groups now if you're considering doing a swap in the future, because those groups are a great place to find eager people that are looking to swap. Most list runs or bigger box sets will require authors to go out and find, so many swaps. So generally what I've seen, it's 3 swaps each. But I've seen more, and I've also seen less. So those are things that you want to, if you are in a set, a list run, or even just a bigger set, or even if it's just a big release you have coming and you really want to get it out there and kind of extend past the walls of Facebook or your regular platforms, one way to do it is this. And I would join those groups on Facebook that are for newsletter swaps specifically. So I hope that answers your question. If you have more questions, please leave them in the comments. I will come back and answer them. Again, I'm happy to make other videos, and I love any kind of suggestions. I never know what to talk about on this channel, but I am a wealth of knowledge in most things book related. Although I'm not always right, I can at least tell you my own experiences and sort of give my take on it. So that's all on that. Have a great day, guys, and happy swapping. Bye.